In the underworld of Forgotten Tales, a name resonates like an echo of bravery and mystery: El Cid. Who was he, besides a legendary warrior? What do his deeds hide behind the legends? Get ready to unravel long-buried secrets, exploring the achievements and unparalleled courage of El Cid. At the heart of this journey, surprising revelations await you, along with a special invitation. Embark on this adventure, and don't forget to leave your like to support the channel. Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, better known as El Cid, was born around 1043 in Vivar, a small town in northern Spain. He came from a noble and influential family in the region, which provided him access to resources and opportunities that were not available to many in society at the time. From a young age, he received training in military skills and horsemanship. Cavalry played a crucial role in medieval society, and Cid stood out as a skilled and fearless knight from a young age. His training included swordplay, spears and bows, combat, and battle strategies. Additionally, he received a broader education, including literature, history, religion, and courtly etiquette, and was well-versed in poetry and music. During his youth, he battled alongside renowned military commanders, and this practical experience was fundamental to his tactical improvement, allowing him to learn from the best and develop his career. Thanks to this, he quickly rose in social and military hierarchy. In addition to battle, Cid was devoted to the Christian religion and a patron of arts and, valuing literature, poetry, and music, supporting artists and musicians at his court, which contributed to creating a culturally rich environment in his lands. Chivalric ethics, including values of courage, honor, loyalty, and courtesy, were also closely linked to the mentality of the time. Our hero personified these ideals, being recognized for his noble and respectful conduct, both with friends and enemies. The historical context was marked by the coexistence of Christians, Muslims, and Jews in the Iberian Peninsula. Although he was a Christian leader, Rodrigo was known for his tolerance and respect for the beliefs and practices of other religions, seeking alliances and cooperation with Muslim and Jewish leaders in his endeavors. This reflects not only his own personality and convictions, but also the complex social, political, and religious contexts in which he lived. At one point, he was exiled by Alfonso VI of Castile. It so happened that during a dispute between the throne's heir brothers over more territory, Cid fought against Alfonso, supporting his brother Sancho. When Sancho died, Alfonso ascended to the throne, but the relationship with our knight was already deteriorated. In the following 10 years, his fame grew. Now leading a large army, he conquered and became lord of the Moorish kingdoms of Lleida, Tortosa, Denaya, Albarracin, and Alpuente. He was skilled at negotiating temporary alliances based on mutual interests, exploiting rivalries between different groups to strengthen his own position. Despite conflicts and challenges, El Cid eventually reconciled with the Castilian king and was allowed to return to the king's service. In addition to his fighting skills, he also demonstrated competence in territory administration and governance. His ability to navigate this complex political environment contributed to his influence and lasting legacy in the history of medieval Spain. The Siege of Valencia is one of the most significant events in El Cid's life, highlighting his ability to overcome an extreme situation. Let's dive into this narrative. At the height of his career, Cid consolidated his rule over the city of Valencia, strategically located on the east coast of the Iberian Peninsula. It was a prosperous city whose riches made it a coveted target for many. The battle began when the combined forces of Berenguer Ramon II, Count of Barcelona, and the Muslims of Zaragoza besieged the city. The enemies were numerous and well-equipped. However, Cid was not shaken by the disadvantaged folks. He meticulously organized Valencia's defense, fortifying the city walls, efficiently distributing resources, and keeping morale high among soldiers and citizens. Besides physical battles, he faced political and diplomatic challenges during the siege, negotiated temporary alliances with Christian and Muslim leaders, exploiting rivalries among his enemies and gaining valuable time to strengthen defenses. The siege lasted for months, testing the resilience of all involved. However, El Cid's tenacity and the determination of the besieged prevailed. Attempts to breach the city walls were repeatedly frustrated, and the exhausted and demoralized enemy forces eventually withdrew. The showdown between El Cid and the Knight of Ghent is an epic event portrayed in the Cantar de Mio Cid that highlights the bravery of the legendary Spanish warrior. In a scenario of constant conflicts and challenges, Cid, already known for his feats in battle, was challenged by a warrior known as the Knight of Ghent, whose name echoed among the kingdoms of the Iberian Peninsula, feared for his formidable strength and unparalleled skill in the arts of war. The challenge was publicly issued, and the news spread like wildfire through the surrounding lands. The confrontation was eagerly awaited, as it represented a clash between two of the most renowned warriors of the time. On the designated day, ranks of spectators gathered to witness the duel that would define supremacy between these two war titans. The battlefield, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun, became the stage for the confrontation that would echo through the ages. El, mounted on his powerful steed, advanced with confidence, his sword gleaming in the daylight. The Knight of Ghent, equally imposing in his armor, raised his lance with determination, ready to face his legendary adversary. The duel began with overwhelming intensity. The exchange blows were swift and precise, each move calculated to exploit any gap in the opponent's defense. The metallic sound of weapons clashing echoed across the plain as the audience watched with admiration and respect. The battle unfolded in a deadly dance, but Cid used all his experience to face his formidable opponent, and in the climax of the confrontation, he seized a moment of distraction from the enemy to deliver a decisive blow. His sword struck true, toppling the Knight of Ghent. The battlefield resounded with a momentary silence before filling with shouts of acclaim. Such a confrontation became another chapter in the saga of the legendary Spanish warrior, highlighting his combat prowess and his ability to overcome impossible challenges with cunning. He is remembered as one of the greatest military commanders of the Middle Ages. One of the most important sources about El Cid's life is the Cantar de Mio Cid, an epic poem from the 12th century that narrates his adventures, challenges, and triumphs. This literary work preserves the warrior's memory and also contributed to his image over the centuries, being seen as a national symbol of Spain. His image is often associated with Spanish identity and national pride, being celebrated in festivals, monuments, and artworks throughout the country. Contrary to the legendary tradition, where he dies heroically in battle, Cid passed away in a bed in his castle in Valencia on July 10, 1099. It's at this point in history that he becomes a legend. The Moors were confident because they had finally killed the hero. However, his wife had his body tied to the horse and his sword to his hand and sent him to the battlefield. Upon seeing El Cid on his horse, they began to flee and were pursued and defeated by Rodrigo's army. Hence, the legend goes that Don Rodrigo of Castile won a battle after death. Bro, the man was the GOAT. His remains, along with those of his wife Jimena, are buried in the Burgos Cathedral. El Cid exerted a profound influence on Spanish culture. His life and deeds were portrayed in literary works, paintings, music, operas, and theatrical plays. Authors like Guillén de Castro Corneille, and even modern ones like Arturo Pérez Reverte, wrote about him. His image was also depicted in various movies and TV series. One of the most well-known movies is El Cid, starring Charlton Heston, and also the homonymous series from 2020, starring Jaime Lorente, that already has 2 seasons available at the moment. He is honored in the game Age of Empires 2, The Conquerors, where you can control his army and even himself. In addition to works for adults, he also appears in children's books and comic adaptations, making his story accessible to different age groups and audiences, keeping his memory alive. His life and death continue to inspire and fascinate people worldwide, leaving an indelible impact on history and collective imagination. We have reached the end of this epic journey through the achievements and mysteries of El Cid, a true hero who challenged the limits of the impossible. Throughout this video, we explored his noble origin, his legendary battles, and his lasting legacy. The message that El Cid leaves us with is clear. Never give up. Fight with courage and honor, and move forward, even in the face of the greatest challenges. If you enjoyed this story full of emotion and bravery, don't forget to leave your like, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel to not miss our next historical adventures. Together, we can continue to explore the extraordinary feats of the great heroes of the past and find inspiration to face our own challenges in the present. Stay epic, stay strong, and stay tuned for more World's Greatests.